Howdy folks, my name is Matt. Welcome back to another installment of our YouTube how-to series. Today we're going to be discussing how to properly winterize your camper. Anytime outdoor temperatures reach freezing or below and you're not planning on running your Truma Combi heater, you're going to want to winterize your camper. The Flagship is equipped with a 24-gallon freshwater tank, a 5-gallon gray water tank for the sink, and a 5-gallon gray water tank for the shower if you have the inside shower option. It's important to fully drain all tanks and any water lines going to or from the tanks to avoid bursting any lines or damaging any fittings. One really big perk of the Flagship LT is that you don't have to run any sort of antifreeze or blow any air in your lines. We designed it so that the water pump drains the freshwater tank and then gravity drains the sink and the shower hoses. So now that we're on the inside of the camper, we can go ahead and start the winterization process. Now you probably can't tell, but the truck is parked on a slight angle to the passenger side right now, and that's just to help aid all your water in your freshwater tank to get over to the drain side of the tank. So the first step we're going to do, we're going to reach down in our utility cabinet all the way down on the floor by the batteries. You're going to see a yellow handle on a brass valve. You're going to go ahead and flip that handle to where it is parallel with the brass valve. With that open, you can go ahead and turn your water pump on. With the water pump on and the drain open, you're going to let that pump run until you don't see any more water dripping out of your truck bed. That's going to give the pump time to pump all the water out and make sure that the water tank, the pump, and all the lines from the tank to the drain are completely dry. So now that you have that water pump turned on and that drain valve open, it's draining all your water out of your freshwater tank and pumping it out the side of the camper. Go ahead and just leave that water pump turned on until you stop seeing water drip out of your truck bed, and we can move on to the next winterization step. So when that water stops draining out of your truck bed, you know that your freshwater tank's totally drained. We can go ahead and turn the water pump back off again, and we're going to move up to the sink and start draining the sink and the shower lines. We're going to cycle back and forth between cold and hot, kind of leave it somewhere in the middle, and you might hear some gurgling as that water leaves this and flows down through that winterizing drain. With the sink still turned on to let that water keep draining, we can go ahead and open this up, grab your shower hose out of here, and then turn this valve on. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to cycle between cold and hot in the middle, make sure that all the water drains out. So it helps to raise this up in the air. Maybe a little bit tricky, but we're just going to open up that valve, pressing this closed. We're going to let all the water drain out of this hose, all the way down, cycling the knob to cold, cycling to hot, making sure that all that water is draining down out of those lines. So now that all your water is drained out of your lines, you can leave the shower turned on and the sink, and you can leave this little knob here flipped out to make sure that this stays open, just to ensure that any little bit of water left will have a chance to drain down out of your lines. With that done, we can go ahead and roll this back up, stow it away, and move on to the gray water tanks. Alrighty, so now that you've drained your freshwater tank and all of your water lines inside the camper, we're going to move back here to the back and we're going to drain both of our gray water tanks. Now, this camper does not have an inside shower option, so it doesn't have a shower gray water tank. If it did, the procedure would be the same for the sink and for the shower. Simply remove your white cap off your hose, go ahead and just drain your gray water. If you're in a place where they're sensitive about draining gray water, you might want to get a bucket to drain it into. So ensuring that that's totally empty, you have to give it a little shake. Looks like it's totally drained. We can close that off. Go ahead and put our cap back on and stow that away. So that's the whole winterization process. Super simple and super easy. A couple things to keep in mind. Be sure your water pump is turned off at this point. Be sure that your sink and shower are both turned on, and that your winterizing drain is also left open to ensure that any water left in the lines has a chance to drain out. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a shout.